Taught by a teacher. Week 1. School year 2016-2017. Tuesday, August 9th, 2016. Beginnings and endings. Those are always the hardest for me to write. I'm not sure that real writers have the same problem, but that's what makes them real writers. Not journaling wannabe writers. Real writers know where their stories begin. I don't even know what my story is. I just know I need to start writing and getting stuff out. And I'm beginning on August 9th because school is getting ready to start, and I can feel my stress levels rising so quickly that the metamorphosis from relaxed summer me into uptight teacher me is seeming to happen with such rapidity that I can't wrap my own mind around the change within myself. It's probably fair to say that I am beginning to journal in the middle of my story. I am a teacher, a really stressed out teacher who lives 2 lives. One where I struggle to move kids and families down their paths in education, and one where I am a mom and wife and all the things that make me me. For some reason, I cannot merge these 2 worlds. My hope is that if I journal about it, some type of clarity will happen for me. Wednesday, August 10th, 2016. So here we go, journaling, which is really me talking to myself because I have discovered the ability to record myself on my phone. Okay, I'm not a moron. I have always known I could talk to my phone and it would do a variety of things, but I never dreamed I would use it like this. Now, this may not sound like a big deal, but for me, it could save me tons of time. I also have discovered that my phone will create text out of what I say. It really is a smartphone. I can just talk into my phone whenever I am dealing with stressful moments and then paste the text into my daily journal. I hope that at some point someone will find my journal and I will be hailed as a hero for surviving the trials and tribulations of being a working mother who is also a teacher. I am thankful for a day when technology and I find a way to be friendly. Here's to a good plan for a well-managed stress level for the school year and a way to immortalize my daily struggles. Maybe someday someone will find this journal and see my struggles and award me like a Nobel Prize or something. Wonder what you have to do to win a Nobel Prize. I mean, could there be a Nobel Prize for enduring a lot of stress? If so, I may be starting the documentation cycle for why I should win one. Still August 10th, 2016. Oh my God. It works in the car through my speakers. Now I can multitask during my commute to and from work. I will be able to talk to myself about all the stressful things in my life before I get home, thus truly creating a separation of work and home. And it counts as journaling. I am going to be so damn zen. Thursday, August 11th, 2016. In a moment of reflection today, I was reminded of the phrase give out. That's the term my grandparents used during my childhood. Are you give out? It was asked at the end of something arduous and taxing. In my child's mind, it was synonymous with tired, exhausted, beat. I thought it was one of those weird, archaic phrases that my Midwestern small-town country folk kin had carried down through the family register from the days of hillbillies and crick people, like in yonder, meaning over there, or yins, meaning you, the plural, or shit like a goose, meaning loose, squirting bowel movements. At any rate, it has only been adulthood that has opened the larger meaning of give out to me, and it's far more literal than I could have ever dreamed or understood as a child. It's the appropriate description of how I feel right now when you are out of give. The pot is empty, all resources are depleted, and there's no sign of replenishment in sight. It takes Herculean effort to give to myself because what little is left must be given elsewhere. Which is why when I took my shower before journaling tonight, I argued internally with myself about whether shaving my legs was worth the effort. I mean, I took a damn shower. Wasn't that enough? Wait, when was the last time I took a shower? It may have been a couple of days. Why is it that everyone seems to be able to manage children, work, and personal hygiene except me? Furthermore, how is it possible to have 10 weeks off and not feel ready to return to my middle school classroom? On one hand, I will get a break from my own child. That's right, I said it. She is my everything, and also the reason I can't shower. On the other hand, I can't believe that most of my summer projects remain undone. Yet here I am needing to focus on showering so I can get up at 4 a.m. tomorrow and attend meetings all day that will prepare me for another year of teaching. If I'm to give out to shower, where will I find the give for an entire year of students, colleagues, and my own family? I hope it's not too warm in those meetings tomorrow. I'll be wearing my flowy yoga pants to hide the fact that I did not spend those extra 2 minutes in the shower shaving. And yes, I realize that flowy yoga pants do not convey I'm here to teach some kids, but it's just meetings, right? No actual kids to be taught. Besides, all the coaches will be wearing t-shirts and shorts. Mean thought. I hope Coach Christie is not wearing her infamous sleeveless shirt with the sides cut out over her sports bra. Blech. Friday, August 12th, 2016. What kind of maniacal organization starts a work session on a Friday? I get up at 4 a.m. because I have an hour commute and because I enjoy having my classroom to myself at the beginning of the day. Getting up at 4 a.m. enables me to be at work by 6 a.m., a full hour before the next early bird will arrive. This is my MO, and I have been doing it for 5 years now. Many teachers in my building stay after school to get some uninterrupted work time. But I find that one, that time is never uninterrupted, and two, I am too exhausted at the end of the day to function well enough to produce anything of value. So each morning during the school year, I get up at 4 a.m. and read my email and celebrity gossip while I drink my first cup of coffee. I've never watched an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but I'm fascinated with their headline hijinks. By 5 a.m., I'm usually on the highway with my second cup of coffee, courtesy of Starbucks. Well, I pay for it, so I guess it's not really a courtesy cup of coffee, but that's my routine. That stretch of highway knows my vehicle well. I slice through rural countryside and am usually alone on the road most of the trip, fearing only the stray woodland creature that may attempt to cross my path. NPR is my travel companion part of the way, and my grandmother via phone call the rest. This is the most peaceful, delightful time of my day. This morning, as I pull my car into the empty middle school parking lot, thousands of tiny voices that were programmed into my ancestors millions of years ago are screaming, "Flight, flight, turn the car around and go do something less stressful with your life." But the martyr in me, a little known prerequisite for all teachers, says, "No, fight, baby. You can do it." The mom in me, who has long forgotten what it's like to do anything I want to do, says, "Get your ass out of the car. You can't afford to sit here and listen to voices or have a midlife crisis. You can't afford it financially or time-wise." And it is my mom voice that I listen to because she's usually right and has gotten me this far. Still August 12th, 2016. Maybe journaling during school is better, when I have important stuff I need to say, or maybe after school. I have a lot to say about today, and I don't want to wait until tomorrow morning. Actually, I suppose I could just timestamp my entries, and then I would remember when I journaled. And really, it's my journal, so I can talk into my phone whenever I want. Why in the hell do I feel the need to create rules and structure around everything I do? The first day of my school year always starts with me having to get my picture taken. Because going back to teach 120 kids to read and write and needing to get your room ready in 2 days to accommodate said 120 students is not enough to-dos on the endlessly growing list of back to school shit. Now I have to look picture good too. This picture will be on a lanyard around my neck all year. Does anyone else think this is weird? Who else wears their own picture around their neck every day? But this picture will be handled and gazed at by 8th graders all year. And no one is crueler than middle schoolers. And they don't mean to be, which makes it 10 times more painful when they ask you things like, "Why didn't you wear any makeup for your picture?" Or, "Is this before you gained weight?" This picture can turn into an open wound that students will stick their proverbial salty fingers in all school year. Oh, my classroom seems unaltered after 2 hours of my ministrations, and the clock tells me it's now 8 a.m., time to join the rest of the staff assembled in the commons area. After a tooth check in the girls' bathroom, no sneaky flax seeds lurking, I find my teaching BFF already standing in the picture line. Without Kelly, I would spend thousands of dollars on therapy or alcohol. She allows me to cut in behind her, and we both endure several dirty teacher looks, which are far darker than just a regular dirty look. However, being teachers gives us the special superpower to be impervious to every type of thrown shade, since teachers can ignore just about anything. Although there do seem to be two camps on eye rolling, which I classify as a dirty look. It either escalates a teacher or the teacher is so proficient at ignoring they do not react. That second camp is also the one that has students come in and out of their classrooms half naked or wearing apparel covered in pot leaves and swear words without them ever noticing. Sadly, I'm in that second camp. I like to think it's because I'm so involved with the molding of young minds in literary analysis, but it may be that I'm really good at ignoring. Our school district has its beginning of year meeting at our middle school every year, which is why I was in the picture line. Later, I will have to join the flu shot line. It's like a really bad carnival. All this means we are all here. Also, this means we are all here. One big happy family, elementary, middle school, and high school, getting our pictures taken, having a flu shot. We also get treated to breakfast on this day: coffee cake, grapes, and coffee. Thankfully, I had the foresight to have my summer breakfast of yogurt and flax, part of my Get Your Butt Healthy This Summer program, along with my Starbucks coffee. Kelly assumed breakfast meant more than a 2-inch by 2-inch square of coffee cake and a handful of grapes. She was quite disappointed. Each year, our superintendent treats us to a pep talk that always feels more like a mild lecture for the mistakes that he is sure we will make. And the parts that aren't lecture tend to be accolades for programs that he spearheaded, like a new evaluation tool being implemented this year. Yay! Or stories about how great his family is. Now, this may sound cynical and bitter, but I've already been here a couple of hours, which was enough to make me realize that despite coming in the 2 previous days to unpack, I am going to need about 40 hours to get prepped for the students that will be coming on Wednesday. By my calculation, I have about 30 hours available to me if I work both Saturday and Sunday. Monday's a work day. That means I get paid to come in and prep my room. And then Tuesday will be like today, meetings all day. So really, I'm not cynical or bitter, more bored and frustrated that this is how I am being forced to spend this hour. Of course, Kelly and I find a better way to use this time. We count how many women have the same shoulder-length layered ombre tinted hair, 28. Then we count how many have the same shoulder-length layered dark with 2 shades of blonde highlights hair, 34. Apparently, those women didn't get the memo that ombre is the new trend. Kelly and I both have naturally curly hair. She's blonde, I'm brunette. Curly, 5, if you include the lady serving coffee cake. Still August 12th, 2016, 9:30 p.m. Note the timestamp. I can't help it. I need rules. After rereading this, it may be hard to write a storyline in here, but I am finding it pretty easy to ramble on about school. Saturday, August 13th, 2016, 4:30 a.m. I should be sleeping. It's 4:30 a.m. One day back and I'm already chained to my internal clock. It took me all summer to force myself to stay up until 10 p.m. and sleep until 6:30 a.m. Paulo is snoring softly next to me, and I am already regretting agreeing to let him and Mimi come with me to help set up my classroom today. He got off at 11:30 last night and really has not been sleeping that long. 4.5 hours if one wants to get technical about it. I definitely should not wake him yet. But if we leave in an hour, maybe we can be home by lunchtime. No, definitely not lunchtime. Maybe dinner time? In all fairness, Mimi and I have been in bed since 9 p.m. What to do? I could wake him with a cuddle. He deserves a cuddle. It is not easy being married to me. If a person can have multiple personalities based solely on stress personas, I'm quite sure I could be the poster child for that mental health campaign. This leaves Paulo dealing with one of my stress sisters most of the time. I feel sister impatient and under pressure, rearing her ugly head. She is who decides for me that a snuggle is not the way to go. A snuggle wake up means a romantic encounter, and I don't have time for that this morning. Better to make a noisy cup of coffee and do a little drawer slamming. An apology for making noise takes 20 seconds or less, whereas a romantic encounter will last somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes. Welcome to Teacher Hell, where every event is boiled down to time or lack of it. Still August 13th, 2016, 8 a.m. My thoughts from earlier made me decide to start a checklist of things I give up for my career. Here's what I have so far. Shaving of legs, good nutrition. I didn't mention this earlier, but I had a donut. Damn you, Starbucks. And my yogurt and flax on Friday for breakfast. Okay, and a piece of that crappy coffee cake. Sex and romance with partner. Sunday, August 14th, 2016, 5 a.m. You know that quote about the path to hell being paved with good intentions? Paolo and Mimi provided many concrete examples of this for me yesterday in their attempts to help me get my classroom ready. Now, I definitely should not be complaining because if Paolo had not set up my computers, my classroom computers, I would have spent the night in my classroom. However, I had a list of things that had to get done. I achieved 10 out of 15. Were I a glass half full kind of person, I would be happy. But I'm not. I'm a why in the hell would you only fill the glass halfway kind of person. Kelly and her family were also in to work on her room. She lives in town, so it's not a day trip for her family. Therefore, she's much farther along than I am. It was awesome to see her and her husband, Kevin, and their little one, Peyton. Peyton is 6 months older than Mimi, and we all thought how awesome it was that the kids could play while we worked on classrooms. Isn't a family time, let's get our kids together activity to unpack boxes, label everything, and order people around like they are your workers and you are Pharaoh building your own pyramid the most idyllic scenario ever? Apparently not. In Kelly's room, Peyton and Mimi busied themselves by writing on the cinder block portions of Kelly's walls with the whiteboard markers. Despite having 100 square feet of whiteboard they could write on, the cinder blocks apparently were more pleasurable. This led to 30 minutes of Kelly and me scrambling around the building trying to find the right concoction of cleaning chemicals to undo the toddler damage. No one wants to start the school year by pissing off our custodian, Jan, especially not to the extent that marker on the wall would. Jan is scary on a good day, but having to paint over writing on any wall puts her in a tailspin that even the bravest of souls avoids. Kelly and I may or may not have panic cried a few times during this. They were the kind of tears that crop up when you think someone might die. In this scenario, clearly it would be Kelly dying because, well, it was her room. I'm a good friend, and yes, my child was involved. But at the end of the day, I was fine walking away. I would miss her, but not enough to take on Jan. Thankfully, eventually we managed to concoct a solution of Windex and hand sanitizer that was effective. Using a toothbrush, found in my closet from the dental check last year, and our likely toxic concoction, we did the trick. It was quite a relief to know that Kelly would be around this school year after all. While Kelly and I were gone on our panic-stricken search, Paulo and Kevin got into a discussion about the Kansas City Chiefs, which led to a discussion of professional versus college sports. This led to Mimi and Peyton technically being unsupervised, despite having two adults in the room with them. Several of Kelly's classroom library books now sport a variety of smelly stickers. 200 used smelly stickers later, we decided to take a break from Kelly's room and go to mine. And Kelly was not her best self at this point. Who could blame her? Smelly stickers are pretty expensive. I was a little hesitant about letting her in my room because she seemed a bit vengeful. Since my books, markers, stickers, etc. were still boxed up, we felt my room was a safer place for the kids to play. But what this really meant was that anytime a box was open, both toddlers were clamoring over each other and us to help unpack it. It was exhausting, and all of us were getting snippy. Kelly and Kevin decided that perhaps the girls playing together was not the best idea, and we would all do better working solo. I wish I could say that things got better after that, but I'm beginning to think that perhaps I have developed adult ADD. Anytime I started a task, Paulo would interrupt me and ask me a question about how to do something I had asked him to do. And his questions were legitimate. Where would student computers be set up? Which box had the power cords? Should he number the computers? Where was the labeler? Should he include my name on the labels? He's not a teacher, and I should have more patience. But every time he asked me a question, I couldn't remember what it was I had been doing. At one point, I had student files half created, my desk drawer half organized, and 4 boxes half unpacked. By the time I would get back into my groove, either he or Mimi would interrupt me again. This led to a day of not being my nicest self and coming to the realization that as much as I want help, I would rather do this on my own. Monday, August 15th, 2016, 6 a.m. After an entire summer of having 1 cup of coffee and no donuts, my first stop this morning was Starbucks for a venti Americano and a chocolate donut. I so blame school for this. When I got that donut last Friday, I swore I wouldn't start this again. I called my grandma and settled in for my morning drive. This was my exact routine all year last year. I don't have any other time I can talk to my grandma other than this time. Paulo and I work opposite schedules so that one of us is always home with Mimi. When I get home from work, Mimi is a full-time, don't take your eyes off me kind of work. Once, when someone heard me complain about this and being tired, the person responded, "Well, that is your choice, right?" Yes, it's what we choose, but it's still tiring. However, I try not to talk about it now with people, just to myself, apparently. By the time I get Mimi down for bed, I am too exhausted to focus on anything like a phone call. Plus, my grandma goes to bed at like 7:30. God, that would be nice. I would like to go to bed at 7:30. If I went to bed at 7:30, I would get 8.5 hours of sleep. Anyway, I need that caffeine to function, and I need that donut for the conversation with Grandma. My grandma lives by herself and needs someone to check in on her daily. I live the farthest away from her, 3 hours, but I am the family member that does the daily check in. Were she a nice grandma, this would not be a problem, but she is a stream of negativity that only a chocolate donut can shield me from. We usually start out with a casual check in on family members, and she either praises some action that benefited her. Your sister came over and took me to lunch. At least she cares about me. Or it's a criticism of something she feels one of us is doing to be intentionally stupid. Your dad forgot my ranch flavored rice chips when he did my shopping. It was the 83rd item on the list. He doesn't pay attention to anything. I guess no one cares if I starve. Then she is kind enough to relay every horrific crime she has watched on her local news and or CNN. When we get off the phone, I am already grumpy for the day. Paulo has told me many times that I should call her only twice a week, but I feel guilty, and if I don't, she makes sure that I do. No one's contacted me in days. I guess if I die, someone will eventually find me from the stink. Still August 15th, 2016, 7 a.m. I guess my room's kind of ready. I have my class list printed, and I know what I'm doing this week. At least I think I know what procedures I'll be teaching this week. This is called planning in education land. It should be called hoping, because I'm quite certain I'll do 1/3 of the things I think I will, and a bunch of things I have no way of planning for right now. Thank God it's a 3-day week. Finally, I decide to only unpack what I know I will need, and the rest I jammed in a storage closet. I tell myself I will clean all that stuff out sometime later, but one of those boxes hasn't been opened for at least 3 years. I'm not sure what's even inside, and honestly, I'm a little afraid to open it now. There might be something in there that was instrumental to my teaching at maximum proficiency for the last 2 years, and I didn't use it. I intentionally chose the phrase maximum proficiency because proficiency is one of our buzzwords this year. So is intentional. See what I'm doing here? Already using the lingo? This is a defense tactic for the school year. Last year it was best practice. The year before, rigor and relevance. I still throw those around too, but you have to listen carefully to that speech from the superintendent, the one I mentioned earlier, for the words of the year. You don't have to listen to that to the content, just the words he uses most often. This was confirmed for me later when my administrator used the same words in her beginning year activities, also known as lectures, shrouded in PowerPoints, videos, and games. I have to say, I love how each year administration works so hard on ways to make us think all of their strategic directions are actually our ideas. Guess what? A strategic direction should be pointed in one direction, not 1,000. And no teacher is going to be on board with one more thing. Thank you very much. But I get what I need to survive from those activities. It's all about the words. As long as I use them frequently, it sounds like I'm on board. Hell, maybe I am on board. It's hard to tell when my day is a reactionary pool of tasks. Survival becomes the goal, not adhering to my own philosophies about education. Those have long been tucked away in an area of my heart that I can't even acknowledge now because that would send me rocketing into a midlife crisis and likely out of teaching. Still August 15th, 2016, 9 p.m. This is becoming more like a really long, taxing therapy session with myself. Stephen would be so happy that I'm finally talking about my feelings. Tuesday, August 16th, 2016, 4 p.m. Probably one of the hardest things about going back to school is how much I miss Mimi and Paulo. In 30 minutes, I will arrive at home and Paulo will give me a swift kiss and bolt out the door to work. Mimi will have been playing all day and already be a little crabby as bedtime is about 3.5 hours away. I will have to begin making dinner and prepping for tomorrow, and she will want me to drop everything and hold her and play with her. And since I haven't seen her all day, that is fair. But then who makes dinner and does all the other mundane things like empty the dishwasher, get my work outfit ready for tomorrow, pick up the toys that are scattered through every room, bathe? Yes, we're back to this again. Maybe I'm just down because of the school day. No students yet, but a day with colleagues is like a day playing opposites. I'm amazed at how smart some of my colleagues are and how clueless others can be. How kind someone can appear, yet how crass and rude another will be. Some are so vocal, while others remain silent. A few are over-involved and want to lead everything, while others refuse to participate in anything. Yet we all have to make this thing called the school system work. Today we played a fun game that sounds very patriotic, red, white, and blue. For the game, you get to sit at a table with people from your department. In my case, English Language Arts. We get these packets of papers, highlighters, yellow and blue, and red pens. Also, there are centerpieces on the table of candies casually dumped in handfuls. Much like peanut butter and cheese are used on mouse traps, it is well known that candy attracts teachers. I also believe that a continuous stream of processed sugar keeps us argumentative but sluggish, both important for any work we need to get done as a team. It is explained that we are going to use yellow for this game rather than white. So why not call it red, yellow, and blue? Apparently, it is supposed to tap into some patriotic chord. Our administrator is playing pop music softly in the background, and she's hyped up on her skinny vanilla frappuccino and maybe Ferrero Rocher chocolates, which are nowhere on any of the tables but keep magically appearing in her hands. And just saying, what's the point in a skinny frappuccino if you're going to eat chocolates? She works the room, chatting with her pet staff members. This is her third year as our administrator, and she has used those 3 years to develop a team of about 8 people that are her people. She chooses them for everything: leadership roles, awards, any recognition, really, professional development opportunities, etc. I'm not on her presidential cabinet since I can never stay after school, but I'm okay with that. I'm more of a behind-the-scenes person anyway. As Best Day of My Life by American author subliminally croons to us, she starts us out with inspirational videos about teaching and then gives us an I love you guys speech where she singles out feats of certain staff members. At one point, she becomes teary while relating how hard our staff works to keep every child learning every day and how proud she is to be part of this with us. So maybe I would have some buy-in at this point. I mean, she's crying, for God's sake. No one cries over me except Mimi. But her first example of an exemplary staff member is someone who talks about how much he hates kids in the staff lunchroom every day. That's right. His words, I fucking hate kids. 2 years until retirement. So, doing a science experiment that the kids enjoyed that